So with the rise of all the new technologies like AI that make it so easy to acquire knowledge and all this other stuff, do you guys really think that post-secondary school, college, university, whatever it may be, is really worthwhile these days?
Hmm.
Good question.
That's a loaded one.
Good question.
So is post education worth it, or like, do we need it? Is that what the question is?
Pretty much based on the advancement of technology.
Okay.
Chat GTP. Is
G-
it chat? Is it GTP?
GPT.
GPT?
Yeah.
Chat GPT.
Yeah.
I still need to go to school.
Do you use it?
I haven't used it.
That's why. That's why.
I haven't used it yet.
Oh man. Well, I use AI, not specifically Chat GPT, but there's so much different. It's everywhere now. Like it's on WhatsApp. WhatsApp Meta. They have a feed, a AI feed. I use that super all the time.
Yeah.
I use it all the time. Now this is funny. This is a kind of a loaded question, man, because there's different ways to look at it. All right. Because of technology, is it worth it? Do we still need it?
Yeah, do we need it?
Do we still need it? I think another question we have to ask is, why do you go to college or university?
Wow.
Because I've heard different things. And I'll say it to you like this.
Okay.
Are we going to college or university to get a job or to get a career?
Mhm.
Or are we going to college and university to prepare us for just life?
But when you put it like that, I really think that post-secondary education is necessary in the sense that you need more than high school to prepare you for life. Now, it doesn't mean that the university you go to makes you who you are, but the environment and the challenge, the push, especially during these years of like 16 to like 24. I mean, you need to be able to get certain habits, right? And that's something I think is very important, because as soon as you get out of university, like, your degree doesn't mean anything unless it's very specific to like being a doctor or things like that. But the ability to learn, the ability to understand how to do some critical thinking, which, funny enough, is fairly new in university. Critical thinking is still fairly new. I'm going to say like it wasn't there in the 80s. It wasn't something.
I didn't know I wasn't there then.
You know what I mean? And it's like, it's just something that they didn't think that was necessary. So, I mean, being honest with you, I think the whole education system over here in terms of the Western world, I think it's based on rote memorization, stuff like that, which is ridiculous, because
You don't have to be smart. You just have to memorize.
yeah, you just would memorize, take in some information, and repeat it to someone. Like, that's not learning.
Yeah.
It's a type of learning, don't get me wrong, and it can get you so far, but you'll notice the ones that are actually at the top, they're critical, and most of them forego their university experience because they realize that it's not giving them what they need.
It's interesting, man. When I talk to people, a lot of times you could tell how much education someone has just through conversation and the way they approach issues. You know, I know some people that didn't finish high school and they act a certain way. And I know a lot of people that didn't go to college or university, right? And they approach things a certain way, differently than people that have. Sometimes it's really prevalent, and sometimes it's small things. So I think, man, this is tough.
It is.
For me, it's tough. You know what? I can make arguments for both sides because, to be honest, I never liked school. I never liked school. And in my mind, I grew up thinking that I didn't need this school, what it was. Ever since I was little, it never made sense to me. I remember being, okay, I really started questioning school when I hit high school.
Grade 9?
Yeah, grade 9.
Shoot.
Because before then, school was fun.
Okay. Recess.
School was fun. Right. There's recess in elementary school. So after school, like to me, school was recess. Those are my memories of school.
Yeah.
The in class stuff was just like whatever. But you think about recess coming up. Okay, what are we gonna play? All right, what was the score in that soccer game? Okay, we gotta continue it at lunch. All that kind of
Continuation,
Yeah,
yes.
all the elements to that. But and then I went to junior high school, and then junior high school, not only was lunchtime and extracurriculars fun, but class was also fun. Like I was lucky enough to have fun teachers. They made it fun.
Okay.
So overall, the whole experience, like I felt like my junior high school should have been a TV show. All the things that happened, it was just exciting.
Yeah.
And then I got to grade 9, and then the atmosphere was more of a okay, you got to get high marks, and this is what counts. You got to get prepared for college, university. And I just thought it was weird to sit in a classroom and you have to listen to this woman or man, and you're getting old enough to understand that they might not know what they're talking about, and why are they telling me something or trying to teach me something? Why do I have to wait to go to the washroom when he says so or when she says so? Little stuff like that. It didn't make any sense. Why are we sitting in like a row all facing the teacher? How come I can't get out of my seat? So because it didn't make sense to me, I started to care about it less.
Less, yeah.
And I never asked. Maybe I would have had a better experience if I just talked to someone and said, I don't really like school, or I don't understand these things. Maybe, I would have had a different experience. But because of that, I didn't care about school at the next level. Because I didn't care about high school, I thought, well, college, university is just maybe going to be harder. So why would I do that?
Right.
I got tons of ideas. And to me, the whole idea was just making money. So if I just have to make money, why do I have to be in school? I see people making money. Maybe not like in a legal way, but I always thought to myself, well, I saw people doing negative things, and I thought, how can I just do that in a legal way?
Right. No.
That's what I used to think. So then I'm like, why don't I have to go to school? But I remember I had a conversation with my sister, and she explained to me why university is important. She said university specifically. It's not about the education. It's not about the paper, like you said. A lot of the degrees people get, they don't even use them. But it's about preparing you for life, that experience. Showing yourself and people that you're bumping into later that you were able to complete something at that level, right? You had the willpower, you had the organization skills. You have a certain set of skills to do that in 4 years. It says something about you. And not only that, but you're immersing yourself with a certain type of people. If you just go to high school, your network is going to be on the lower level of society. It really is. Because everyone's in high school.
Yeah.
The guys that are going to become murderers, the guys that are going to become lawyers, the guys that are going to be bums, they're all there in high school.
Yeah.
There's less of them in university. Not that they're not there, but there's less of them. And I have always said, even to my kids, I've thought that, you know what? You guys got to get to this level. You got to get through high school, because high school is where all the crap is. And you can really mess up your life in those 4 years. You make the wrong decision in high school, which is very easy. You could mess up the rest of your life. So once you get to college, university, you're around the majority of people. They care a little bit more. They're a little bit less reckless, and they're a little bit more mature. So you go to university, you're going to have a different network of people to move with throughout the rest of your life. And networking is everything. Who you know, what they can maybe do for you, what you can do for them. Those people you meet in those years are the ones that really help, really count. So I think post-education is necessary, but not just for the education. It's necessary for life because of the networking aspect?
I think you're absolutely on point there with regards to that. The thing the part about post-secondary education that bothers me is the challenge of challenging the people that are responsible for giving this information.
Yeah.
Some of them may seem like there's some people that they went out in the field. You're teaching psychology, you were a the psychologist. You're out there and you said you don't know why I want to go back and teach accounting.
Right. Or you were a lawyer, you're teaching a law class.
Correct.
Yeah.
Now, there is that component that I like, right? Because it's been tested. All these theories, you go out there, they tell you this is supposed to work in theory, and you go out there, and at some point, you really find out if that theory works based on a whole bunch of different things, conditions, stimuluses, whatever. And you find out that sometimes those theories are all garbage. But you had to go through that to find out. And now you have a concrete block of data that says, you know what? It was okay maybe for this purpose, but it's not good for all these other situations. And when you're trying to figure out life, right, you're navigating through different environments, different, like you said, networks or networkings. And you'll find that everybody's not the same. Everybody's different. And they could have been in the same class.
Oh, for sure.
They're in the same class. Got the same mark. One's an idiot. One's a bloody idiot. And you're trying to sit there, you're trying to figure this out. And you're like, well, school's supposed to, knock that out and curb this. Yeah. But meanwhile, you know what? Maybe they didn't have certain people skills. There are people that go through life with like 50 degrees
and they're stupid.
They should just go back and get some more. Just stay there. Don't
for sure.
Up.
You know what's so funny? I'm not gonna name any schools. But there's a very prominent school in Canada. It's hard to get into. It's the most expensive school, I think, to get into.
It's post-secondary?
Post-secondary. It's prestigious. You go to this university, it's like, whoa. It says something about you.
Yeah.
But when a kid sits in my chair, and I start talking to them, I can tell they went to that university. Because for some reason, kids that go there are super weird. Super weird. And that's why I'm not naming the school. Because some of you listening might be going to that school. But I could tell a lot of these kids that are very academically smart and advanced, they do some weird. They have. It's like you can't get both. On the social side, they're usually very odd. And I can always tell. Oh yeah, university. Okay. What school you going to? Yeah. I do it.
Right.
After 5 minutes of talk to them, I can always tell. All the other universities, no. But there's this one. It's like the kids that they let in, man, they got high marks, but they're a little quirky sometimes.
You know what's funny? One of them applied here.
Yeah.
And I remember looking at the resume and I was like, okay, somebody. All right, ask some questions here. Yeah. So I'm asking questions, particularly about the hobbies. I said, so it says here you like soccer. It says that, yeah, I like soccer. I says, which one do you like better, basketball or soccer? He's like, I think I like basketball. I says you like soccer, and you got a lot of rewards for this and whatever. So, and basketball was just like a subplot. And then I started asking some other questions on the resume, and I realized that he did not write this resume. ChatGPT wrote this resume. GPT. He actually, no, for him it was PT. I read it, I'm like, nah. Yeah. And I laughed and I said, you know what? I would have hired this guy and have some fun. This is going to be hilarious. He knows who he is. You know who you are. We hired him. And I said, you know what? We're going to give you a chance. Because I don't think you understand what the world, and this is the thing, what I like about what we have in the position we're in. We can give people a chance even though they don't deserve it.
Yeah.
You know, and just to give them a chance to understand what it's like to rub shoulders with real people in the real world. Because you're going to have to know how to navigate working with people. And sometimes, you know, you mess up. Thinking that AI is going to save your ass.
Okay. So the nitty gritty. Well, what do you saw?
Wait, what I saw?
Yeah. Did you finish high school?
Finish high school.
Did you go to college or university?
Went to college, university. Went to both.
You went to both. So what happened? What was your experience?
So, college was, I went to Georgetown College, and I was taking the computer programming.
Oh, okay.
And I got through, maybe, I wanted to go kick basketball. Yeah. I really watched football.
Is that why you really?
I really like basketball. Now, school's easy for me. So, what did I tell you the other day?
Nerd?
Yeah, I'm a nerd. No. But I am because you heard of the term PK?
Mm-hmm.
Right, pastor's kid?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm a TK. I'm a teacher's kid.
Okay.
So, learning is not hard. Like, just being able to absorb information. So, from young, I was able to understand these things. And then when I got to college, I was like, yeah, there's a little bit of, actually, college does a little bit more on the go learning. Right. Where you have to learn kind of what's out in the field. It's kind of like you're in the field. It's just you're in class.
Yeah. It's more nice though.
Yeah. And then maybe about halfway through this program, the computer program, I realized I wanted to keep my eyesight. It's like I don't want to be looking at code and missing a semicolon. And I was like, this is not for me. This is not for me. But I did go and take web development and graphic design at Computer Technology Institute. So I did that and finished that. And then I went to Ryerson and I was like, oh, I'm going to say Ryerson? No, TMU.
TMU.
Those right.
Yes, good. So you finished. You finished the college grad.
I was and then I went to Ryerson. I was taking psychology, and I'm telling you, it sucks when your prof just has to lie to get their point across. And lie. Like, they know that the majority of the class is going to just listen to them.
Okay.
And if you're sitting there and you realize that they're off, even by a minor stroke of information, if you call them on it, they should be willing to say, hey, you know what? You're right. I'm going to put that in my next textbook or something.
Well, it's higher learning. Yeah, you're right. Right. Explore, what do you think or whatever.
But when they're cornered and they feel like they might lose the power of the class.
What was the course?
Psychology 101.
Oh, psychology.
Like 101.
I've also heard bad things about those courses. Psychology and sociology.
Yeah.
They always say, like, you're a waste of money. Yeah. Unless you're going to get like your doctorate in whatever. Like, you go all the way.
That's the thing. And I didn't finish that because I realized that, one, I think I extracted enough information out of that class to know if, you know what, the rest of this I can do without this. I don't need this powerful. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to be armed with the technical tools that allow us to function. Or when I say us, I'm talking like I'm the third person. But it was just something that I was like, you know what? Yeah. However, looking back on it, there's other classes I should have taken. So I'd still like to finish. And maybe I'll go to that weird school. It sounds like a speaking.
This is good because this is what I want to get into, right? What made you go? You say you wanted to play basketball, college. What made you go to university? Like, we're talking about whether we need it or not. Yeah. So after high school, what was the need or what was the thought process of, okay, I want to go to college or I want to go to university?
Okay, so there was this gentleman. He was really academic. He was but he was going to like prisons and talking to inmates.
Sounds remote.
He was talking to inmates, and he realized that there was a lot of smart guys.
Yes, of course. Tell you smart guys. They're just choosing to use their mind for
Correct.
something else.
Yeah. So what he decided to do was figure out how to get these guys to think differently, so that way they can win. And it was hard for him because what he realized is that they didn't know what they really wanted.
Right.
They were armed with all this information, these skill sets of how to learn, but they couldn't figure out what they really wanted. So, because at the end of the day, it's usually just about money.
This is what I want to go into. Yeah.
And so when he told me, he said, you know what you can use university for is to steal information. Back then, we didn't have Google and all these all these resources that allow you to access information. You know, amazing. Like we had which those there was like not Ouija boards. What do you call that thing at the library where Fisha slides or whatever?
I don't know. Zabacus?
There were these things that you had. They had documents that were, I guess, put in like plastic film.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right. And then you put it in this magnifying glass with the light and whatnot.
Yeah.
You would be looking at old documents.
Yeah, old newspaper.
Right. And funny enough, the way Mappery talks about, that joke with his son, he said, I'm talking about, I get the chance to tell my son all this information about a certain man. And he's like, yeah, Dad, I got it already. I got a video. I got...
Oh, click a button
right now. So he was telling me that we have to learn how to steal information. There are profs that are literally just, they want to give you as much as they think they know, but they don't want to work harder than they have to like really. Don't get me wrong. Obviously, there's a lot of other people that would like to see students do well, but you have to really get it out of them. You have to figure out whether it's manipulation of, bringing an apple. Maybe the woman likes apple. Maybe this guy likes apples or pineapples, whatever. Just something that allows you to get over this hump of this person not wanting to work extra hard to get you the information you need to go out there and do amazing.
So do you think kids coming out of high school know what to do?
No. There's some. I think what's really important is at the home, if you guys are having conversations, this is where I think Black families can start to do a lot better. It's having conversations at the dinner table that are talking about real life and, forecasting it. Mm-hmm. Where are you going? What you see what you're doing with your money? You see what you want to do? Have you seen anything lately? Yeah. Whatever it may be, just something that allows you to say, you know what, I'm thinking beyond next week. Mm-hmm. And once you're doing that, once you're having those conversations, you start to have a better perspective on what maybe you don't want to do. And then maybe more focused on what it is you think you would like to do. And then this is the other part about it. Black parents need to let your children fail. Leave room for them to fail. Don't make it seem like if they didn't accomplish something, they're dying. You know what I mean? And they put them in the barrel or talk about all your nuts and all kind of stuff. Give them the room to fail, and fail early. So
early as possible.
Yeah, figure out what it is
early as possible. You got to do. That's tough when you start talking about parents, because that starts even before getting ready for post education. If you're gonna go, that starts when they're 2-3 years old.
Yeah,
you have to let them fail. But I think, I don't think kids know what the hell they're doing. I don't think they even the ones that say I want to do this, they're wrong. They're wrong, because you see kids go to university and college, finish a program, and then realize that that's not what they want to do.
Yeah.
So that shows you that, since they were 3 years old, Someone might say, "Oh, I want to be a lawyer." So a lot of people pick careers that sound good, that look good, that they're told that they have to be. You know, a lot of parents kind of implant that early. This is what you got to do, whatever, and they roll with it. But when you become an adult and you start thinking for yourself, that screws you up because then you realize, shoot, I don't want to disappoint my dad, but I don't care anymore. Like I'm going to do my own thing. And then you could be 24 and then you could have maybe spent the last 6 years doing something else, what you really want to do. So what I've learned, what I think has to happen is I think post-education is important. Of course, depending on what you want. If you want to be certain professions, you have to go to university, right? Obviously, do. I think it's important, like we said, for networking, right? Developing your brain and your mind, being immersed and around people that care about education. That's important. But how to get there and how to get to which school, I think it's impossible for kids to know. Because kids who are in high school, and you kids that are in high school now, listen, you know, all you care about is like boys or girls. If you're smart and you care about your future, then you care about getting good marks, getting high marks. So that's your focus. So how are you going to figure out what school to go? How are you going to figure out the right course? The same course is different at different schools, which is something I just realized that myself, right? Through watching my wife help my kids prepare for what they're going to do after high school has taught me that accounting at TNU is not the same as accounting at York. It's different. Yeah. And they have different professors. So all that is going to affect your relationship and your experience. Kids, a 16 and 17-year-old kid is never going to be able to figure all that out on their own and make the right decision. I think never. So, this is what I think has to happen.
Okay, talk to me.
If you're from a child perspective, you have to listen to your parents. Hopefully you have parents, but you have to say to your parents, yo, mom, dad, I need your help on helping me decide on what career or what field to go into.
What if your parents said, I don't know about them things?
And they might. This is why I say you have to actually ask them for their help, right? Don't expect that they're going to help you. Because a lot of parents don't know that they are supposed to help. Right? So you have to ask for their help. And you got to go to them first. I'm saying that because your parents know you the best. It doesn't matter how much running around you're doing outside the street, how much you're playing basketball, how little you see them. You don't realize from birth until probably 10 and 12 years old, you were with them all the time. They watched you more than anyone else.
Yeah.
They know all your bad habits, all your good habits. They know everything about you. And if a parent really, really wants to think about it, they can look at their child and they know what they would probably be good at. Or they know what that child probably likes. Above what the child knows. Because you ask a kid, what do you like? Oh, no. I don't know what I like. They always like to say that because they don't want to think first. But if they sit with it or think about it, you have to think on a small level. So I tell people when a kid says to me, what do you like? Oh, I don't know. What do you like to do? They're thinking big. What I like to do? Well, I don't know. I don't like, real estate. I don't like this stuff. No. Would you like to play in the sand? Like, do you like to watch movies? What do you really like to do? Even if you think it's small, because you can attach those small little thoughts, those little things that you like to spend your time doing, you could attach them to careers somehow.
Yes.
You just have to connect the dots, right? If you like watching, if you're a guy, you think, man, I'm a bum. I just like to watch movies all day. You could be a film critic.
Yep.
You could be some sort of producer. You could work behind the scenes. You could work in film. Maybe you could be an actor. There's so many different things in your interest of watching movies. Yeah. But a kid's not going to think that way. So, from a child's perspective, you got to ask your parents for help. Say, I really need your help. I think I know what I like, but what was I like as a child? Ask them those kind of questions because a parent might not want to help you. Say, what's that like, Dad? What's that like to do when I was 4 and 5? Do you remember what kind of questions I asked you? So what that will do is that will lead you to a general field, right? And it's that general field is like math. Boy, you always like numbers, You used to take money out of my wallet and you always didn't like money.
Damn teeth.
Whatever. Say you like money.
Yeah.
Then you can attach it to, oh, sure, I like money. So maybe accounting, math, maybe, I don't know, strategy, whatever. Once you look at that field now, look at all the different careers in that field.
Yeah.
And then that will tell you, okay, should I go to college for this or should I go to university for this? And I think what you should do with your parent is narrow it down to maybe 5 different careers. And if you're still like clueless, which one makes the most money? Whichever one makes the most money in the field that is naturally your interest, then just go with that. Because worst case scenario, you'll get through it because it's an innate interest of yours. So when you take these courses, oh, I like doing this, but at least it's numbers. I understand it. I like numbers. At least you'll be able to get through it, I think. And if you get through it and you're making decent money, then that's a good start. Because if you have money, then you have more leverage. And you can then decide, oh, shoot, I want to take another course. And now you don't have to take a loan because you've been making good money for 3 years. You might be 27, 28. You're still young. And if you're making money, then you're in a better place to make future decisions. So I think that's a good setup. But from a parent's perspective now, the parent has to do all the work. I've been watching my wife do tons of work with getting kids ready. And when your kid goes to grade 9, do not let the school take care of them. The guidance counselor doesn't know what they're talking about. They don't know your child. A lot of them aren't even real guidance counselors. They're just like, they're gym teachers. They're gym teachers that have no class to teach. And they get shoved into guidance counseling. I'm telling you, I'm sure you met terrible guidance counselors. So the parent has to take the role. They got to say, listen, this is what my kid like. I'm going to tell my kid, these are things you like to do, right? And the parent has to vet the schools. You got to call these different programs, see which ones. Some might have more math in it over here, more science, and you got to figure out what path is best for your kid and help them make that decision. Kid can't do it on their own. Let me tell you something. I didn't go to university. I did go to college. 3 times. Never finished none of them times. I tell you right now, my parents didn't even know I was in college. I never forget. I stayed in high school.
No need to talk. No need to talk about that. No need to talk about that.
The only reason I even went to post education is because my peers were going. I remember floating through school and then people talking about filling out forms for university, stuff like that. And I remember thinking, what? How'd you get that? Oh, there was an assembly. Really? When? I didn't hear about that. So kids are going off to university.
Yeah.
And I never prepared myself because I didn't go to the assembly. No one's tapping me. Hey, Kirk, this college is here. We should go talk to them. No, I was playing basketball at lunch. And then 3rd period. And then 4th period.
Recess, yo.
I'm just playing basketball. I'm just going my time. So I had no one smarter than me, older than me, saying, listen, you got to buckle up because this is something you might want to do.
Yeah.
It wasn't until high school was like done and some of my friends were leaving. I was like, oh, shoot. I can't just stay here.
Yeah,
but I
did
did.
like 45 credits.
I could be more. My high school experience, I doubled up. I was in high school like twice a lot of time. So anyway, in the end, I really started getting good marks just to not be embarrassed.
Right.
I didn't care about marks. Grade 9, I think I got 50 in everything.
Wow.
I think which is really a fail.
Yeah.
Like the teachers liked me, so they gives you that 50.
Yeah.
So because I just didn't care. It wasn't until grade 11 where I said I just got higher marks so I could get a nice average at the end. But when I saw kids going away doing all this stuff, that made me think about it. I didn't talk to my parents asking what I should do, whatever. So I remember when I finished school and I was working. And I'll finish story. This is what guidance counselors do, okay? My last year in school, I'm in the hallway, and the guidance counselor is walking by me, and he kind of does a double take, like, hey, what? Kirk, what are you doing here? I said, what do you mean? I'm in school. He goes, come to my office. I go out to the office. I'm sitting there. He's on a computer. You already have more credits than you need. Like, why are you here?
Yeah.
I'm like, sir, I'm trying to be a smart guy. Sir, I don't want to be in the street. What do you want? I don't want to work. I don't know what I want to do. So I'm going to just stay in school.
Yeah.
He goes, no, you can't be that. He goes, you have to, he goes, get a job. But I don't want to work. So the basketball coach, he busted the door. He just barges in. And they're friends, right?
Yeah.
And Mr. Guscott was the name of the
coach?
the guys' council.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Horton was the coach. I hope Mr. Horton's still out there. I love the man. So Mr. Guscott is sitting there. Mr. Horton calls him Gussie. He busts over the door. And he said, Gussie, what's going on in here? And he used to call me Tulip, right? He goes, what do you got Tulip in the office for? And Mr. Guscott's like, listen, Jeff, he's not supposed to be here. He has too many credits. Like, we're trying to figure out something. Mr. Horton goes, the boy just wants to play basketball. Leave him alone. So then I looked at Mr. Guscott. I'm like, and Mr. Guscott's like, okay, fine. We'll give you one class and 3 spares. And then second semester, we'll give you one more class and 3 spares. I had 2 classes by last year.
Wow.
And the joke is, when the second semester started, it was right after the Scarborough semifinals, which we lost. So we lost that semifinal game, and I didn't even go back to get my books. So I just never went back because I was just there to basketball anyway. So that was that experience. I didn't really get any help. After, I just started working and do whatever, just working odd jobs. And one day, I saved up money to take a course that I thought I'd be interested in, right? And when I was leaving, my mother said to me, she goes, where are you going? I said, I'm going to school. She's like, you in school? I'm like, yeah. She didn't know what college I was going to. She didn't know how I paid for it. Nothing. Like, I look at kids now, the excuses they come up with, like, I don't have the money or, like, they need help. You don't need nothing. If you want to do something and it costs money, just get a job, work, and save the money.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it was like $1,500 or something back then. But I took a pre-med course at Centennial.
Pre-med?
Because I said I was going to be a doctor.
You should have been a doctor.
I said I'm going to be a doctor. So this pre-med course was for people that didn't have the right prerequisites from high school.
Right.
So in this 1 year, you take all your sciences. And then you could take your marks, and then you can apply to university. Okay. That was my plan. Man, let's be a doctor. I don't know what I'm going to do, so I like science. That's why I make a lot of money. Doctors make money.
Dr. Tulip.
That's what I'm thinking. So I go there, right? And I'm working full time, and I'm falling asleep in class. And after, like, I think I made it 2 months. I'm like, this is ridiculous, right? This is the same thing. I got to put up my hand to go to the washroom. I'm sitting in, like, there's desks. I'm sitting around people. No one knows what to. All these people are stupid. I never felt like I was just in the right spot or the right place in a classroom. So then I quit. Like I do with a lot of things. And then I took some time, save up some more money. I say, no, I'm good at art. Man, I want to do this art class, art course. So they had a art and design course. There was a new course at Centennial, different campus.
Scarborough?
Yeah, I go there and I sign up. So part of this art course now is in your portfolio. I don't know anything about portfolio.
Portfolio?
So I walk in and say, I don't have, well, most kids that get into this course, they have a portfolio from grade 9. In grade 9, who's telling a grade 9, you don't know to build up a portfolio? I said, listen, so what am I supposed to do? I don't have no portfolio. She goes, okay, we're going to give you an art test. No problem. It's going to be tough, though. All right. I do the art test. It's like, you have to draw this rabbit, do this, all these kind of questions. I'm leaving. I'm like, I didn't get it. So who cares? I go home. I get a phone call. Mr. Tullo, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I looked at your test results. I could tell you have never formally been taught art. So I'm getting ready for, okay, just tell me I didn't make it.
Yeah.
Right? However, she said, for someone who's never been taught art, your skill level is high.
Yeah.
So you could do the course. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to let you in the course, but it's going to be very tough. She shouldn't say that. It's going to be very tough, but we'll let you in. I said, okay, no problem. I went there the first day. They're using all these terms I didn't understand. And I even asked for my money back. I just never went back. And the third time I went, I said, hey, you know what? I'm creative, I like talking to people, whatever. Maybe I could advertising. That sounded cool, advertising.
Yeah.
I took some advertising course, and the same thing. I went for like a week. I just quit. I kept quitting. But I definitely needed someone. I definitely needed one of my parents. So they didn't know. My parents are older. They're brought up in a different system, in Jamaica, different educational system. They didn't realize that they had to advise me more and help me know about myself more at that age, to say, this is what you're good at. You were always like this other boy, and maybe you like doing this. So they just didn't know. They had my sister, who's older, who was always super smart, skipped a grade.
Was she born here?
No. I'm the only one that's born here.
Let me tell you something.
He's a family.
This might not be your fault. Let's hear me out.
Yeah.
It's really crazy that these third world countries, their education system gets looked at negatively. Meanwhile, it's top tier. I'm telling you right now, if you go to Jamaica right now and you talk to someone that's like 12 years old, they're not 12.
But in 12-year-old here.
The 12-year-old here is I'll say it now. Bro, those kids they sound like geniuses down there. They got the accent and everything, and you're like, but what they're talking about, and that's the thing, it's like they have a good combination of life and academia going on for them.
Yeah.
I'm like, so when I hear that they come up here and they have to be set back a grade, I'm like, this is that's why a lot of them got into trouble when they came up here, because they're bored. You put a 14-year-old kid that's supposed to be in grade 9 back in grade 8 with kids that are just trying to figure out life, and this kid is 14 years old,
and they probably already knew more than 14-year-olds.
They know, right? They pretty. It's like they're in high school. They're done.
Yeah,
you're done high school at like 15.
Yeah.
in Jamaica, you're already on your way to college. I don't understand what's going on here. That's what I'm saying. There's something wrong with our school system, and if you think about it, like, look at, you had like some of the most prominent people that are in like high society, Jamaican, and you're like, or West Indian or Trinidadian or whatever, and these guys are coming because they have like the right amount of life skill, and the right amount of
definitely a better balance. Yes, definitely. Yeah, people coming from a lot of these countries, they definitely have a better balance.
India, same thing, right? Like, it's just unfair, That's why I already have a problem with what we call our system up here, because right now you're graduating from daycare.
Yeah,
you're graduating from daycare. From senior kindergarten.
It's
not.
It's changing. What I've noticed in education, especially after high school, it's changing.
Yeah.
Like before, it used to be college is practical.
Yeah.
You want to be hands-on, you go to college.
Right.
You want theory, you go to university. Now that they're starting to blend them, I'm not sure why. It could be it could be a combination of things. It could be they want more students, so universities are trying to attract kids that only think they can go to college. So they're adding elements of college in their learning, and vice versa. Because when I've gone with my kids to these schools to check them out, I go to Humber, and they're telling me you can get a degree at Humber. I'm like, a degree at Humber?
Yeah.
What? How does that work?
Yeah.
You get a 4-year degree. This is what it looks like. I'm like, what's going on here? And I started noticing that, they're blending it.
Yeah.
So universities are trying to introduce more practical stuff, because they realize that we're losing. Like all these kids that want to do nursing, they don't want to go to university. They want to college because they're in hospitals. So they're blending it, and I guess it's getting better. But man, you have to, if you're a child, reach out to your parents, please. that's the only way you're gonna. That's your best chance of finding your way. And if you're a parent, don't let the kids figure it out. Your kid might be 17 and he's bigger than you, or she looks like a big woman. So you start maybe treating them like they, as you should, treat them with more responsibility. But when it comes to them figuring out what they want for their life, they have no clue. It's impossible for them to figure it out. And if they do try to figure out their own, they're gonna make tons of mistakes, which is fine. But why not you interject and you can lessen the blow on some of those mistakes, I think it's good when parents kind of watch the mistakes. So you make sure, no, that's going to set you back 10 years. Why don't you just try these other ones over here? That might set you back just a year or two, right? Because we can see everything, we know. So I think, parents definitely, you got to let kids make mistakes because that's how they learn best.
Yes.
Because when you make a mistake, you remember that way. You learn from your mistakes best. But we definitely have to watch them through it and steer them through it because they really don't know what the hell they bring.
They don't know. That's why ChatGPT.
GPT.
ChatGPT. Chat who? Chatbot. No joking. But all these AI programs now, you're gonna have a whole bunch of what's that? The term?
What, cheating?
No, I would call it simps. You're gonna have a whole bunch of simps because guess what? Someone has to create these programs.
Yes.
The people that create the programs are the ones that's going to be looking at the majority of people limited in information. They think they might have a lot of information because it does gather a lot of information, but somebody's going to be shortchanged.
I've heard crazy numbers. I've heard like in 5 years, 40% of the jobs we have today will be gone. Crazy numbers, which is scary, but people forget that with jobs leaving, new ones are going to be created because of AI. And you got to figure out in what you want to do, where its place is in that, because AI is not going nowhere. It's not going nowhere. It's growing fast. So it's good to understand it. Even if you don't want to be involved, you definitely should understand it.
And that's the thing. See, so the knowledge erases fear. Mm-hmm. And that's why no matter what path you're taking, if it's you want to go to school, you don't want to go to school, you need to still acquire the knowledge.
Yeah.
You still need to do it because it will erase the fear that might prohibit you from making your next steps, right? So, and I know that there's a lot of times when even too much information might make you make the same things too. And you need to know that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Lifers.
Yeah.
There's what do they call them? Lifetime students.
Lifetime students.
Yeah, lifetime students. They're going to school forever.
Forever. Right? But that's the thing. So I would make sure that we arm our kids with knowledge. And especially informing them about the mistakes we made. I think it's
oh my gosh, so burden.
Yeah, we don't want to talk
so about it because they'll repeat them. That's how the world works. They're going to everything that you're embarrassed about in your life that you did, your kids are going to do it unless you tell them and warn them for it. It's in their DNA. They're going to do it.
That's what I'm up front, man. I tell the kids all the mistakes. They'll go like, Dad, are you sure you made this mistake? I was like, but you're here. I kid. Mistake, and big mistake. Nah, love my kids, and I was just taking his SATs right now. Oh, and as we speak.
Oh shoot, nice.
He's taking it right now. Yeah, he's taking it right now. So that's good. So you know what? I think that's what I like here the most is that we get a very wide base of information coming in, and the knowledge that we get to share with the next person, especially after we try to figure out if it's correct or not, allows us to be good, breeding ground for information, and we can encourage everyone that gets in church, especially younger people.
Yeah,
and I like what they can encourage me.
Yeah, all the time. Yeah, I love that.
So
I love when that 18-year-olds tell me something that I don't know.
Yeah,
I love that.
I think they like it too. I think they like it.
Yeah, because in school, oh my God, might be comfortable. in school, teachers, you can't know more than the teacher. You know, you can't speak up too much, and it's ridiculous. But lifetime learning, that's where it's at. Whether you're in or out of school, you have to always be pursuing learning and education.
I agree. 100.
Nice.
Oof, red wrap off education.
I agree.
You went to university, right?
Yeah, but I dropped.
Finish?
No, I dropped out of my third year.
The only thing I wanted to get into, which you didn't have time, was what about a lot of those successful